Hi guys, I have done a separate camera review on the iPhone 16 Pro. There's a lot to cover. I could not put it on the same review here because it's going to be taking too long. It's going to be a freaking movie. I'm not a director, I just want to upload videos to YouTube really. I'm going to be uploading the camera review within the next 24 hours. In the meantime, this is the review for the whole phone, and thank you for watching and enjoy. Hi guys, it's Alex Bass here and welcome to my channel. I finally got my hands on the iPhone 16 Pro, and it's a typical iPhone upgrade, iterative improvements here and there, nothing major or phenomenal or anything, but the improvements that Apple have made is actually turned out to be quite useful for certain purposes. And this one, the 16 Pro, has got a bigger screen than 15 Pro. It's 6.3 inch compared to 6.1 inch on the 15 Pro. Still very compact phone, despite the fact that it's got a bigger battery now. Of course, it's 3,582 milliamp hours compared to the 3,274 on the 15 Pro. And the charging has not been boosted, unfortunately. It's glacier slow. That rumor turned out to be false. It's not 45 watts at all. It just tops out at 30 and then quickly drops to 25, then 23, 20, and it takes ages. Anywho, to put into perspective about the size of the phone, actually, this is Vivo, the V40 Pro, which I'm delighted to have. I'm going to review that one in the coming weeks. This is a 6.78 inch screen, right? This is 6.3. Look at the difference. It's absolutely massive difference, isn't it? Put it like this. We go. Yep, there we go. Yeah, it is really, really significant difference. So yeah, it's a very compact phone. I enjoyed using it, and I still actually enjoy it. It's a typical. Apart from that, it's a typical iPhone design. It's got a titanium frame, just like on the Pro Max. The vanilla iPhone 16 and 16 Plus just get the aluminium frame. This one is actually quite nice. The new one is the camera button here, which Apple does not want you to call it a camera button for some reason, but it actually is. So we're going to get into that in the camera section. Action button is here to stay. It was introduced, I believe, last year or the year before that. I can't remember exactly. It's here to stay. It's actually more useful than I thought it would be. It's got great speakers. We're going to test these ones again, but they sound pretty good to me. That's for sure. USB-C port. Yes, thank you, European Union, for forcing Apple to change it. It's awesome. And I'm going to piss off the Brexiters in Britain, but again, who cares? The other improvement has been the cameras, and the periscope telephoto camera is now 5x zoom. There's a new ultra wide 48 megapixel camera, and we're going to test that one in the camera section. Of course, as far as I know, it's the same 48 megapixel main snapper with optical image stabilization. I do expect great photos from it, at least in the daytime, and great video, but we're going to see that one later on. And of course, typical box, that the botched unboxing I did a few days ago. Yeah, that's it, really. Typical Apple. The other thing is, again, IP68, full water and dust resistance, submergible to 6 meters in water, and strong built. 5 years of, at least 5 years of software updates from Apple. And the screen is very bright, very nice. And this one is, of course, a little bit heavier than the 15 Pro. 15 Pro apparently was 187 grams or something like that. And this one is let's see, 200. So it's a little bit heavier, but nothing major. And another thing to mention here, actually, in the UK, Apple has kept the same prices on the 16 series as they were last year on the 15 series. So this one is £999 for 128 gigabytes of storage and goes up to $14.99. Kudos to Apple for doing it. It's a very un-Apple move, isn't it? It's pretty good. And let's start it. I'm gonna set it up and we'll take it from there. I did set it up, and yeah, it's got a little bit of bloatware to it, but still, it's a relatively smooth skin. iOS, it's nothing spectacular, but still. We go. I did log out of it actually, but yeah, GarageBand, iMovie, Stocks, Fitness. Yeah, right. Who needs that one? But anyway, and display, it's very bright, as I said, and I prefer this one. I think this is more efficient. If you use the dark mode, you just have to get used to it. But you can use it in light mode, of course, if you prefer. And it's got an always on display. We'll check this one in the battery afterwards. And it's actually quite good. And apart from that, it's got the action button here, which is customizable. I could put it on the ringtone, but you go into the settings and you can choose what to use it for. So it could be the silent mode or ringtone. It could be focus. It could be camera to open it. It could be a torch. If you leave it on the torch, you press it on and the torch turns on. Hold it again, switch it off. Could be voice memos or recognize music. It's up to you. Magnifier, controls, accessibility, or no action at all. I usually put it on this one. I like it to be on the ringtone. You need to hold it, press it and hold it, and it works pretty good. And this is the camera button here. So if you lock it, for example, you press it on, and you can open the camera. And it's actually, you can use it for zooming. There we go. You start it on. There we go. Zoom in. And it's not too bad, actually. And then if you press it again, end up the recording of the video, which is not bad. It's more useful than I thought it would be. And put it into photo is the same thing. You do the zooming in again with it, and then take the picture of pressing it. It's not too bad. And yeah, it's all good. And another thing that's interesting here is the Wi-Fi 7. It's been upgraded. Yeah, it's Wi-Fi 7. They've been bragging a lot, Apple, about it. I mean, Android phones have had it for almost 2 years now. Wi-Fi 7. It's nothing really, but still, is there better Wi-Fi connection? Yay. And another thing that is relatively new to this one is the camera thing. It now shoots at 4K 120 frames per second. Again, it's not a biggie, really, because again, my OnePlus 9 Pro has had this feature to shoot video at 4K, 120 frames per second for over 3.5 years now. And it also shoots 8K video. And Samsung also shoots 8K video, and even Google Pixel added this year. So yeah, in that regard, iPhone still cannot do 8K video. Not Pro Max or Pro, which is disappointing. However, we're going to test the camera, which I expect big results from it. And anything else to walk you through before we went to the actual stuff is not much, really. We talked about the screen, how bright and great it is, and the usual fast unlock on the face lock, reliable, and nothing major, really. Browsing is very consistent, very fast. Chipset has been upgraded. It's going to be in the performance. We're going to see it. So now it is the Bionic A18 Pro, up from A17 Pro last year. So we're going to see what improvements there have been. And Apple has made some improvements for sure. And let's get into it. The stereo speakers have crystal clear vocals and a good amount of bass in them. Great speakers.
It's got a new 48 megapixel ultra wide lens as well. And the usual ones is from like last year, titanium frame stereo speakers.
Just to get it quickly out of the way, Apple Intelligence is not ready yet, at least in the UK and in Europe. It's not going to be released later this year. Apple thinks it's going to be December, and there's going to get an update. But we'll see about that. Everyday use of the phone is actually good, and the phone does feel nice in the hand. It's got some grip to it, which was surprising considering it's a titanium frame. But in any case, if you decide to go for the 16 Pro, I suggest you get yourself a case and a screen protector. And the whole experience is overall good. And coming from someone like myself who has been an Android user for many years, coming back to the iOS ecosystem took some time. But once you get used to it, it's an overall smooth experience. There were no real issues. With the exception, of course, of a little bit of bloatware in iOS, and it exists. It's just like in the Android world. It's not something serious. You can uninstall and get rid of most of it, so it's not a biggie really, but heads up, it's there. And the screen is fantastic, and the display is outstanding. I don't have the exact details regarding if it is a 8-bit 60 million color screen or 10-bit 1 billion colors. Could be even 12-bit 68 billion colors, but Apple does not disclose any of these information, and amongst others, of course, they don't really tell you. But one thing is for sure, the screen is fantastic and very bright. You would not have a problem seeing it even in the sunniest of days, and it's quite enjoyable using it both indoors and outdoors. It's great for watching any content on the screen, really. Would that be gaming or animation or sports or a movie or a TV show? It's just excellent. Unfortunately, I cannot check. It's an LTPO screen, so it can go maximum 120 hertz or as low as 1 hertz on paper. However, I cannot check that. Apple doesn't allow you to, unlike in the Android phones. We have to take their word for it. Although an interesting option for displays right here, go into accessibility, and you can go into the motion, and then you go down here, and it says set the maximum frame rate of display to 60 frames per second to save battery, presumably, which is an interesting case. Very Android of Apple. There is HDR10 support as well as Dolby Vision, which is great. And it's a really crisp picture with accurate colors. And we also get HDR in YouTube, which is actually a plus for me. You don't get it on every phone, really. In short, this is a top-class display. Moving on to the battery, the charging has not been upgraded as it was previously rumored. It's not 45 watts, it's just the old-fashioned Apple Glacier slow charge. At this point, it's really beyond ridiculous. It's beyond laughable. I clocked after 15-minute charge 31%. After 30-minute charge, it was 51%. In 60 minutes, it was 82%, and a full charge took a ridiculous 1 hour and 50 minutes. I repeat, 1 hour and 50 freaking minutes. This is unbelievable. Even the Pixel is charging quicker than this. And Google Pixel phones are one of the slowest to charge on the market. Oh my. Anywho, as usual, the iPhone 16 Pro supports wireless charge. It's still 15 watts for chargers, but they have been upped by Apple on the MagSafe to 25 watts. You need to buy that one from Apple, however. In terms of battery life, it's actually good for what it is. With such a small battery, just over 3,500 milliamp hours, it's actually doing quite well. And the standby performance was particularly good too. And during the night, I don't do overnight charging, so during the night I was looking like 3 to 4% maximum, and that's not too bad at all. And that was with the always on display. When I switched off the always on display, the standby was even better at 2%, only lost, which is pretty good. With always on display, the battery was depleting faster by only 6 to 7% during the day, which is excellent. You switch it off, it's going to be pretty good battery life, really. 1 hour of phone calls depleted the battery by 4%. I went down from 56 to 52%. 1 hour of videos also took it down by 4%. 1 hour of web browsing took it down by astonishing 3%. And 1 hour of gaming took it down by 12%. All things considered, this is not a class-leading battery life, but still, it's actually quite good, considering the size of the battery and the optimizations made by Apple. And of course, we should not forget the new chipset, Bionic A18 Pro, that has also contributed to the not only performance but the battery life. Speaking of performance, the A18 Pro is about 15% faster in Geekbench 6 CPU-wise. That's in both single-core and multi-core scores compared to the previous 15 Pro with the A17 Pro chipset. In a 2 to 10 benchmark, which is a much more compound and deeper testing benchmark, the gain is only about 5%, however. In the 3D Mark stress tests, the A18 Pro was up 17% compared to A17 Pro. And in the Solar Bay test, the improvement was 20%, which is not bad at all. In the Wildlife test, the improvement was 16%, which is still a pretty solid showing. So both CPU and GPU wise, the A18 Pro does not disappoint at all. The gaming performance on the 16 Pro is quite smooth. There were no stutters, no hiccups, or anything like it. And the chipset is very, very powerful. And the gaming is buttery smooth. I had no complaints about it, and that was to be expected, of course. The phone did get warm a little bit after an hour of gaming, but that was to be expected, like with most phones, really. Now let's take a look at those cameras. It's a 48 megapixel main snapper with optical image stabilization, a 12 megapixel 5x zoom periscope telephoto lens with optical image stabilization, and a 48 megapixel ultra wide camera. And on the front is a 12 megapixel selfie camera with optical image stabilization. Let's kick off with the selfies. They're actually very good and great for social media posting for sure. Even in lower light, the detail is pretty good, and the subject has natural tones, and the detail in the background is also very good. I would say these are better than the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Even in more challenging conditions, the results are not even half bad, as you can see. In portrait, there's a great separation of subject. It's a little bit artificially done, but I still do like the portrait shots on the iPhone 16 Pro. And you can let me know what you think in the comments about them. Indoor shots are decent. There's a reasonable detail in lower light, as well as colors are consistent, of course. And I did like them. For fun, I did a couple of macro shots very close by and close-up shots, and they are not bad. And these are just around the house. You can check them out yourself and see what you think. Pictures from the main camera are overall excellent. They've got plenty of detail and also great dynamic range, and the white balance is spot on. There is almost no noise to speak of. They are very natural. Colors are a bit muted and they do appear a bit dull at times. So aesthetics would like them, but people who want exciting colors who pop, uh, they will be disappointed. However, the shots are very clean and I do like them. I don't have much complaint about it. In terms of the ultra wide camera, it is a bit soft, but however, it's with reasonable high dynamic range and the detail is pretty good. I do like them, and I think there's very little over sharpening there. So I think it's still better than the ones on the 15 Pro. So they get thumbs up from me. The zoom in shots at 2 and 5 times are also pretty good and consistent in daytime at least. And I do like them as well. The colors don't wash out, the detail is preserved, and the noise is not that much, even at 5 times zoom. And overall, pretty good, solid photos. Selfies at night are also good. The detail is decent. The exposure is also nice. And the detail in the background is also reasonably good. I would think they're better than the ones on the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. The main camera produces in the same rendition as the daytime photos, very natural photos, and colors are good. The dynamic range is solid. The night mode is a bit temperamental. It kicks in whenever it likes, really. You cannot control it, pretty much. But apart from that, whether you shoot your pictures with flash or without flash, the photos are overall good. They are a little bit dark for my taste, really, but I would still rate them as good overall photos. As for the ultra wide, it struggles, that's for sure. In nighttime, it's dark, there's a lot of noise, and it's not as good as on the OnePlus 12 and even on the 9 Pro XL. So night shots, avoid doing them with the ultra wide lens. But when you go into the zooming ones, the 2 time and the 5 times zoom, and as long as there's enough light, they're producing pretty good photos. And there is a fair bit of noise, but that's to be expected. The detail is still preserved somehow. So I can commend Apple for that periscope telephoto lens, actually. And they're pretty solid overall. Moving on to the video, I had high hopes for it and I expected a lot, and it did not disappoint me whatsoever. And the camera button is a bit finicky, really. You can use it for both photos and videos, but it's temperamental. The zooming in is a bit, it's not very intuitive, and it's a bit slow. But then again, for some people that would be very useful. For others like me, not so much, really. You've got an action button and you've got the actual button on the display, the white one. Why do you need a camera button? It's just redundant in my view, but anywho, that's probably just me. There's a very cool feature called Audio Mix, and it allows you to control the voice environment in the video. And I have covered that one along with many other things into the separate camera review on the iPhone 16 Pro, which I'm going to post shortly. The selfie video is also very good and in different modes as well. You can shoot it in 1080p or in 4K, and I did not have any complaints whatsoever. Superb video. The one from the main camera is also pretty good. I have covered all of that in the camera review of 16 Pro. I'm going to upload this one shortly, and you can expect the best video there is on a smartphone. Even zooming it at 2 times and 5 times, the video is still pretty good, and the colors are very consistent and natural. The detail is fantastic, and the stabilization is outstanding on all the lenses. That is something that I did not expect in all modes. I have covered all of that into the camera review, which I'm gonna post shortly. And even from the ultra wide and the 5 times zoom camera, the shots are superb, and the 4K 120 frames per second provides you not only with great stabilization but also great detail, and colors are very natural too. You can see in this 5 times zoom video that the detail is excellent and the quality is fantastic. There you have it, guys. Improvements here and there. Some of them are very appreciated, actually. Great, fantastic screen, awesome stereo speakers, and the cameras all around good performance during the daytime in photos. The video is outstanding. Still industry leading video from a smartphone, that's for sure. The nighttime photos, even though not the best on the market, are still pretty good. The camera button, it's okay. It's not something spectacular, but it's still there. It's useful. And the other features are also useful. The battery, I think for that size of battery, it is an excellent performance. It's a small battery, compared to Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, which got like 5060 milliamp hour battery, or OnePlus 12, for example, 5400. It's holding up well. The charge is not being improved. No, not good at all. Apple, why that glacial slow charge? Oh my god. Anywho, apart from that, is a pretty good phone, and it should be considered by prospective buyers, that's for sure. It doesn't matter if they're Apple users or Android users. This is definitely a phone that should be given a serious thought. Well, that's all from me for now. Till next time. Ciao.